So it was a very tight move, I'll tell you. But there you are. The British government made a revelation this week
Mm.
through their health secretary, Victoria Atkins. She made a revelation, a declaration, if you like. Probably more important since Isaac Newton was hit on the head by an apple. You know, really,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
shocking this thing they found out. Yeah, even some said it was almost like Darwin, who, after studying the primates in
Mm.
their habitats, his declaration was it's
No.
akin, it's almost akin to that, you know.
You got me on
So
tenterhook. I really want to know. Yeah, come on.
hold on to your chair.
Yeah.
It rocked the scientific world. Well, in the UK,
Yeah.
anyway, you know. Some people ran into the streets when they heard about it. Couldn't believe it, you know.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Some in the asylums, in the lunatic asylums, became sane.
All right.
They became sane.
Well, that's good,
They
man.
all of a sudden they came to their senses,
Yeah.
and even the NHS, some of the top doctors of the NHS were shocked, really, really shocked. It was almost like they discovered a cure for all types of cancer. It was that shocking.
I'm just taking that off the list now. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Right. So, you know, what is it that they found out, that they discovered? Discovered that there are only two sexes. I know. From now on, people,
Mm.
at least in the UK,
Mm.
are going to be known as male or female, man, woman, boy, girl.
Really?
Yeah, and it's even some of the patients in the NHS, some of the women, their breasts began to appear again. You
Mm.
know, instead of being chest feeders, they became breast feeders. You know,
Mm.
and they determined that it's breasts are what women have.
Yeah. All right.
But also, to be fair, it has to be said that some elderly, overweight men have them as well. But
Mm.
I
I'd,
think they're called moobs. I think that's what
yeah.
I've heard them
Yeah.
being called
I'd,
at.
I'd argue that there are some men that are big ones themselves anyway, but that's let's move on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Women's ovaries started to appear on
Mm.
the medical charts again,
Yeah.
and it's women's ovaries and not birthing people's. You know, they were known as birthing people.
Mm.
So uh, there is hopefully there's a department ready to receive an influx of patients, huge
Mm.
influx of patients who don't agree with these notions of being a man or a woman. And that department, of course, will be the psychiatric department that will cater for the in-betweeners. Shall we call them in-betweeners?
Yeah, yeah, it's a good, reasonable term. It means something
I,
else as well. Yeah.
well, for not calling them something else. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure that this change attack by the government, by Victoria Atkins, by the
Mm.
NHS,
Mm.
uh, was because the rest of the world, basically, the rest of the simple world was laughing at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because only a week before this declaration,
Mm.
there was a group of nurses. I mean, what do nurses know? They're not doctors, are they?
Mm. Mm.
But anyway, they had a huge banner with all sorts of different flags uh, on them, saying that everybody is welcome to the NHS. So I went onto Google looking for these flags, and I couldn't find any nation
Mm.
you know, I couldn't find any country that these flags belong to.
Yeah,
So
right.
I can only assume, you know, that people were making things up, you know. But you
Yeah.
know, I digress.
Yes.
So there you have it. One day, I hope, you know, the pamphlets that the NHS give out
Mm.
also are going to be limited to one language as well,
Well, okay.
because you know at the moment they've been distributed with like 5, 6, 7 languages on them.
Mm.
And if you want to be English, then you know, I mean, I'm here in Brazil. I learned Portuguese.
Mm.
Um, I'm I've learned French when I was in France. I've learned
Yeah.
Spanish when I was in Spain.
Yeah. You
I'm learning Polish and I'm relearning Russian
okay.
just in case Putin decides to invade the rest of Europe and South America. So I can get a head start on the rest of the plebs. But,
Yeah, yeah.
but there you go.
That's good
I'd,
for
I'd
so
like
yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to know your little opinion on this newfound scientific breakthrough.
Well, Revelation, I mean, I've got loads and loads of books I bought from the, not lots of books, a few books I bought from the UK that actually going back to the dark old days for describing um, men and women giving
How
birth, and yeah,
how how dare they?
yeah, I mean, very outdated notion, you know. Yeah, I mean, I used to read these books with disgust and disdain. Yeah, thinking, yeah, oh, you know, that's not what the internet's telling me. Yeah, it could be, must be something wrong with this. There must be some new thing coming through. Yeah, I mean, okay, we could. I mean, I think yeah, people have been mixing sex with sexuality up for a while. There are the two things are different. Yeah, you can be attracted to a certain demographic, yeah, thing, i.e. male. A male can be attracted to male, a female can be attracted to females, yeah. That's not sex, that's still sexuality, yeah. That's who you decide to have
Mm,
a relationship with, okay,
yeah.
an intimate relationship with, okay. There's somebody in between who like a bit of both, okay. We're not going to that. Well, we will, you know, they do, but yeah. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, yeah. Now I'm glad to hear that these books, I don't have to replace my entire library now with alternative books. You know, not that anyone has books anymore. We all get our information from the internet, Wikipedia or whatever, whatever open source open source information there is. Yeah, I mean, I haven't checked out recently on the NHS website, which is very good actually for anyone that wants to know any medical conditions in English, because I recommend my students look on there for most things. Yeah, discussing this topic is not one I do regularly. Now, I will take issue with what you're saying about what the nurses know. When I was a young man, and yeah, we had student nurses in my hometown. They were quite aware of anatomy. That's all I say. The female nurses were quite aware of anatomy. Yeah, probably the male
Well,
nurses were as well.
ever since I saw that documentary, Carry On Nurse, uh, you know, I know what they can get up to, and I know the problems that when their uniform malfunctions as well.
Oh well, there you go. You're more of you're an authority on it. Yeah, you watched the the right information. Yes.
Mm.
Um,
Must be true
yeah.
because it was on the BBC.
How long ago is this? That material appears on the BBC. God, dear, it must be a long time ago now. That's the same age as my books, probably. Yeah, okay. We're having a bit of a laugh about this. Okay, people were trying to do things. We all know some of the messaging behind it. Again, you know, it's this world of confusion, land of confusion we're living in. Yeah, it's meant to disorientate. People like you and me never became disorientated. There are a lot of doctors in senior levels who you could see were being interviewed on telly and was like, is it? Yeah, sort of thing. Yeah.
The last time I went to an NHS doctor wasn't too far long ago.
Yeah.
And he examined me and he said, "Look, let me just put this tampon in your front body." I thought, look, this gender thing's going far too. It's going too far.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Do I look like a birthing person to you? Yeah, I know. It's yeah, the thing with contagion. I mean, yeah, fear. I mean, yes, there are people who actually lost their jobs and in non-medical related things for actually calling people Mr. or Mrs. or Miss or whatever else. Misgendering. I mean, and then you got the ones that wanted to swap on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, you know, whatever I feel like doing. Look, if you want to sleep with men or women, that's your business, was always my attitude. Yeah. You don't need to wear a rainbow thing on your around your neck or wherever you
No,
do
of
it
course not.
I don't need to know what your preferences are, sexual or otherwise. Yeah. As long as you're not into children or animals, really, and we're cool. Yeah. And you know, children, by children I mean under 16s. Yeah. Yeah, okay, it's in the UK, it's under 18s, other nations, and I'm not saying I condone anyone under 18 really. But it is a very, very yeah, I always thought things would swing back to one way. And I don't disagree with people re-examining what their true beliefs are, where we are. Everyone is entitled to be treated with respect. And I think I've said this before, and I totally agree with that. Yeah. Even from a religious standpoint, it's not up to me to judge. You can do what, or anyone else to judge on this earth. You can do what you want. If you're religious, you'll face another judgment. If you're not religious, you might still face a judgment. Yeah. I'm not gonna start going down that route. Yeah. I thought that the whole thing is ridiculous. Yeah. It's very confusing. Yeah, we both know. I mean, again, it's sex and sexuality are two totally different things. You may feel that people may actually have an issue with their birthed sex. Yeah, and it's not an assigned sex, it's a birthed sex. Yeah, you were born one or you're born something else. Sorry, life is unfair like that. Now, I mean, yes, the UK has been moving away from this. They closed down the clinic or the hospital that was reassigning children effectively, which was what, yeah. Okay, an adult who probably can consider what they are and what they want, maybe, yeah, okay.
Plastic surgery, they can do what they like.
Yeah, be
to
happy.
Themselves.
Yeah,
to themselves.
To themselves, yeah. Be happy. Whatever makes you, and I'm all for people being happy. Don't down the road suddenly decide that, yeah, that's probably not what I did want. Or you can do and you pay for it. That, you know, again. Yeah, I mean, it is. And the other thing is, and I say respect, we respect other people's views as well. Those that aren't going to necessarily understand why you want to be called one thing 1 minute and something else the next minute. Understand them as well. Respect them. Yeah. I don't think anyone means it out of disrespect. I mean, that teacher who's been sacked and is now taking a court case as well. It really is going to put the cat among the pigeons if a government minister has said that. Vote for it in his favour. Yeah, I mean, the majority of people think in a certain way. We live in a democracy as well. Yeah, but that doesn't mean I think minorities should be, and it's not about minorities or anything else. You know, people can be what they want. They can dress as they want. They can go to work dressed as they want, as long as they wear appropriate clothing to do their job. If the job requires fireproof overalls, they're not the nicest of things to wear them. Yeah, hard boots and everything else. And then you can go home. You can go to the changing room. Okay, that's another issue. We've got a dress as well. Yeah, there's a male changing room. There's a female changing room. Yeah,
as I frequently did.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to tell some stories. Yes, yeah,
no.
Yeah, but yeah, sometimes some girls used to get the the toilets mixed up in London when they were following me about. But yeah, yeah, I'd always kick them out at that point. That's not fair on gentlemen. And the girl putting herself in a difficult situation. It's a very, very well, to me, it shouldn't be emotive. There's a reason why we do, in certain circumstances, segregate in this instance. Yeah. And also, I mean, yeah, the next thing is a man who's to all intents and purposes still a man insists on going into a female changing area facility and changing what I would call the ultimate safe space for women. Yeah. I don't know what that man feels or doesn't feel. And the ultimate thing is, it's unfair on the women who feel uncomfortable with this gentleman being there. And I will be quite honest, if a woman went into a man's dressing room, I would feel uncomfortable as well. Because, you know, I'm married. I'm sure my wife wouldn't appreciate another woman being in the same area as me in certain circumstances. Yeah.
Well, it's not your fault.
Well, it's not my fault, but you know.
I'd play in ignorance. I'd just say, what? I mean, there's a woman in our changing room.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but yeah, yeah, but I do think younger girls are in there as well in a male situation, and younger men in a female situation. Sure. And yeah, and that's whom I believe. Yeah, I said, we should be big enough. And yeah, I'll say ugly enough. Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, that's quite true for some people, to be able to look after ourselves.